Don't Nod are a studio that doesn't sleep. Hot on the heels of 2023's Jusant comes Banishers, a spiritual successor of sorts to the studio's prior action RPG Vampire, or Vampire if you prefer. Here, players are plunged into a dark land stalked by all manner of undead apparitions, their task being to cleanse the landscape of a haunted curse. Banishers may seem derivative, but with the journey encompassing heady themes of life, death, love, sacrifice, plus the narrative complexity Don't Nod are famous for, then Banishers has a few tricks up its sleeve that'll help it stand out. The setting. Set in a fictionalized rendition of colonial North America, the setting is a dark, gloomy, mysterious, and, as described by one of Banishers' two central protagonists, Cuban-born Antia, as colonized land that is haunted. Now, whilst developer Don't Nod have acknowledged that their 17th century set game does indeed take place on colonized land, colonialism isn't a central theme. Instead, New England in the late 1600s was likely chosen due to its historical notoriety for witchcraft, notably the Salem witch trials, with them having taken place in Massachusetts a couple of years before the Banishers inhabit the area in 1695. Open world is linear in style. Banishers' action takes place in a semi-open world, an area that feels vast yet inhabits a gloomy claustrophobia, with different biomes distinguished by lighting and vegetation. Natural landmarks funnel players through, but Don't Nod have made attempts to evoke a feeling of isolation, making the player feel like they could easily get lost amongst the mire. World building has been of great importance to Don't Nod, with the efforts of level designers, narrative designers, and environmental artists coming together to craft a distinctly atmospheric world for players to explore.
Could it be a scourge?
Yes, a scourge. Powerful and very angry.
What the bloody hell?
Protagonists. The ghost-hunting Banishers are Scotsman Red McWraith and his Cuban-born wife, Antia Duarte, and their duty is to protect the residents from the lingering threat of spirits and specters. Now, this isn't a spoiler, as it's well established in Banishers' preview material, but during a disastrous mission, Antia dies, becoming a specter herself. The story henceforth focuses on Red's attempts to cleanse the landscape of hauntings, whilst straddling the line between bringing Antia back from the dead or facilitating her into afterlife. Gameplay. As Banishers, players will step into the lives of colonial settlers whose townships are plagued by haunting curses. Paranormal investigation then will take up a big chunk of player time, blending crime scene style examination and dialogue choices with a sprinkling of spellcraft. Signs can be marked into the earth that'll trigger faded memories, appearing as ghostly renditions retelling events that have happened, painting a clearer picture of what has transpired. The other half of gameplay encompasses combat, with the usual light and heavy attacks, melee, blocks, combos, and weapons, interspersed with magic, all at the disposal of the Banishers as they seek to rid the landscape of nefarious specters. Characters can be switched between. During paranormal investigation and in combat, both Flesh and Blood Red and See-Through Spirit Antia can be freely switched between. The latter is integral to many of the game's environmental puzzles, inspecting spectral dust and lighting up glowing glyphs to reveal hidden clues, pathways, and echoes of the past, things otherwise invisible to the mortal Red.
It forced its way through here, dug up all the wolves,
And plucked them out.
Combat looks a step up from Vampire. Don't Nod's prior action RPG Vampire has a lot to love, but it's fair to say the repetitive, simplistic nature of its combat dragged the whole experience down somewhat. Learning from the formulaic action of its predecessor and perhaps taking more inspiration from modern action games, Banishers looks to be a step up. Don't Nod are on record stating they've learned from Vampire's past issues, with the combat described in this feature's previous entry exemplifying this. Plus, character animations and effects appear spellbinding too, which is another step up from Vampire's often drab animations. Character arsenal. Combat throws up some nice variation via Red's ability to slice foes via cutlass or blast from distance with a weighty musket, blending fluidly with Antia's preference for a hands-on, melee-focused approach, interspersed with ethereal area of effect attacks. As expected, Red has a health bar that needs to be managed and topped up. Upgrade paths. This being an RPG, there are of course skill trees for each character, although less expected is the fact that both characters will share the same upgrade paths. Still, there's enough specialization to flit through here in terms of abilities, weapons, and crafting menus that each character can be tweaked to individual playstyle. Do not have resisted stuffing too many collectibles, weapons, armor, and spells into the game though, instead providing a more modest offering that players can run with throughout the game's duration to upgrade to their maximum potential. Enemies. Banishers promises a wide variety of supernatural enemies, from run-of-the-mill zombie types to more formidable towering opponents. The game's official bestiary trailer showcases skeletal dog-like creatures, floating demon-eyed specters, rampaging, rotting flesh soldiers of battles past, plus humongous bosses that are kind of hard to describe here. Our glimpses of them mostly contain shadows. One particular hazard players must watch out for is for fallen specters possessing the bodies of anything and everything lying dead across the landscape, whether deceased wildlife or humans. Moral choice, a major narrative theme. With Antia's passing at the game's outset, both Banishers face a moral quandary enveloping the entire story. Resurrect Antia's body to bring her back from the dead, or aid her to move on to the next plane of existence, whatever that is. To achieve either outcome, the Banishers must decide upon an investigation's conclusion whether to blame or banish deviants, with the former delivering an increase in ghost points enabling Antia's return to flesh and blood. It's not always going to be clear-cut though, outcomes will be morally ambiguous. Show kindness by granting delinquents an ascension to the afterlife of their own, and Antia gets closer to her hereafter as well. Characters will be torn between their love of each other with their revulsion of the undead, their choices carrying substantial weight that may have serious consequences later. The tormented souls and afflicted residents each harbor stories of love, betrayal, and suffering as well, their deliverance being far from an open and shut case. Campaign length. Banisher's story runtime is speculated at being at least 20 hours, with 30 hours most likely. Throughout, the Banishers will explore 5 distinct regions, each potentially haunted by their own ghostly flavor. Made in Unreal Engine 5. It's 2024, and we're starting to see Unreal Engine 5 become a more commonplace game engine. Banishers is no stranger to Epic's state-of-the-art engine, it being crafted within it. Players can expect photorealistic visuals, tactile environments, and immersive lighting, and it's put to good use here in Banishers by just how organically decayed everything looks.
Kate? Show yourself.
And with that, we reach the end of this video. Have anything to say? Let us know in the comments below. Also, we upload new videos every single day on Gaming Bolt, so please consider subscribing as it really helps us out. Thanks for watching.